And like,
I was just too busy, you know, I had.
welcome everyone. I'm glad you're here in person and online and joining this class today. Wednesdays is a blend of gentle and restorative. I plan on doing both. Probably a little bit more restorative than gentle today because it's a full moon. The full moon is today. I hope you saw it. It was beautiful. My theme for today is an unusual thing that I've never done because I'm a little bit of an arachnophobic. I would rather be with a snake than a spider, but spiders have been showing up, and there's a spider pose in yoga. So I thought that we would build up for the spider pose in our active portion, and then we're going to restore. Now, in the last class, because it was blissful flow, we did like a moon salutation, and we mixed in a few elements of the sun salutation with it to build up for spider. We're not going to do that. We're just going to be warming up the different body parts to get to spider, and then we're going to restore. But with spider pose, we need open hips, we need some flexible inner thighs, we need some healthy knees, we need strong calves and a strong core. So we're going to do a few poses to prepare us for that. We're going to start just sitting and breathing. When we're sitting and breathing, I want you to consider a spider is symbolic of divine feminine energy. It's a symbol of protection. It's a symbol of artistry and manifestations because of their beautiful web designs. And they're also related back to the moon because a lot of the spiders build their webbing at night. The veils of illusion that we typically talk about in yoga, in India, they talk about spiders representing Maya, and the webbing is like the veil. And oftentimes when we're sitting in meditation, I'll say, let's try to let go of distractions. Let's try to let go of the thoughts that are running and streaming through the mind so that we can clear the cobwebs from the mind, so that we can clear those inner trappings, because those thoughts are tempting, right? Some of the visions can be tempting, and we're trying to go back into kind of the space of the mind, which is where creativity really exists. So let's go ahead and sit up nice and tall. And just focus on your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Most of the pranayama techniques we use in yoga are through the nose. There's a few through the mouth. If you're ever congested or having a hard time breathing, you can, of course, breathe through the mouth or a blend of the two. Notice how the spine springs upward on the inhale. And you drop down on the exhale. The inhalations can be uplifting, not just physically through this experience that you're feeling with your body, but it can also be uplifting to our mood, to our spirit. And the exhalations not only drop us down physically, but they can energetically drop us down into our bodies and into our hearts and into our higher self. So see if you can make that connection now. Now that you've been centering with your breath, crack the lids of the eyes open. Let your arms kind of hang down beside you, and you're going to start to roll the wrist. As you roll the wrist, you can slowly sail the arms up in the air. Once you arrive at the top, reverse the rotation. A lot of snapping in my wrist today. And then bring them back down. Good. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Link your fingers together. And as you exhale, extend your arms, pressing out through your palms. Inhale, lift the arms now up overhead. Elongate your side body, elongate the vertebrae. Keep the chin parallel to the earth. The eyes can be open or shut. On your next out breath, go ahead and descend your left hand to the floor. Turn your right palm to face down and curve over to one side. Breathe into that right lung. Clearing out any debris that may have been settling at the base of your lungs by taking deep yogic breaths. And affirming here, strength and courage is feeling my body cells. Now place that hand just behind your head. Slowly roll open and look sharply through the corners of the eyes, called Parshva Drishti. And then on your next inhale, bring it back up to the top. Lace the hands together. Reach the palms skyward. Feel the upliftment through the navel, through your heart. And on your next out breath, descend your right hand, turn your left palm to face down as you swerve to the opposite side. Crescent moon. Breathing into the left lung. Remembering the breath helps to interweave the mind, the body, the spirit together. Spiders are master weavers. Now I want you to think about when insects get kind of caught in the webbing and how they get stuck. That's what we're trying to do as we go through these poses. Where are we stuck? And then we also want to notice what are the inner trappings of the mind. Place your hand behind your head, gently roll open. And then inhale, let's build all the way up. You can relax the hand down. If you're sitting on a bolster, you may want to slide off of it. We're going to have the hands behind us and the feet in front, separated, a little wider than hip distance. And then as we inhale, send the knees over to one side, doesn't matter which. And then exhale, cross it over to the other. This is like the windshield wiper twist. Inhale to one. Exhale to the other. Good, now bring the knees back up. Separate your left leg away from you into a half V. And your right heel's coming in towards your pubic bone. Flex that foot, lift up through your crown, push down through the thigh bone, and begin to slowly walk it out. So we're not only opening the hips, but we're starting to stretch out the inner thighs. This will be important for that peak pose today, if you want to call it that. Did any of you see my post this morning? That's the spider.
Looked intense.
It actually looks more intense than it is.
But you were very good at it.
I didn't actually know it was spider pose. It's actually a newer, well, I feel like it's a newer pose because I've only seen it in the last couple of years and I've seen photographs of it. And I've seen these beautiful photographs of it and I never tried it. And then I looked up spider pose and there it is. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna try it. Inhale, slowly come up. And then extend the opposite leg and then pull the other heel in. And again, put the pressure down through the back of the leg to find the quads, flex through the ankle, lift through your heart and through your crown, and then walk it out to your edge. Don't feel like you have to be any certain degree in the pose. Where you feel the pull, where you feel the stretch, but where you can still openly breathe is key. This is a half konasana. Kim Rose was in the last class and she was just telling me she's been reading, what's it called? The Surrender Project or something. Have you guys, he's the guy that wrote the Untethered Soul. Anyway, yes. Basically, the premise of the book and the point that he's trying to make is notice what comes your way in life, surrender to it, because you never know where it's going to take you. And the affirmation for this pose is, I will accept everything that comes my way as an opportunity for further growth. He was an economics professor, and then he developed an ashram, and then he ended up creating this multi-million-dollar company. But he was a yogi, he was a meditator. And it's a very interesting story. Inhale, slowly begin to back your way up. Bring both feet together. And instead of folding forward today, we're just going to flutter the wings of the butterfly here. And this is going to be the gentle way we open the hips. All right, now draw the legs together. And we're going to come to a pose that's very similar to our extended child's pose, except the toes are tucked under. The arms are going to be outstretched, hands shoulder distance apart. We need the feet to be stretched out if we're going to build up to spider pose. And since I'm unsure about all of your knees, this is probably the better way to open the soles of the feet today. And then on your next in-breath, rock up to hands and knees. Go ahead and shift back to downward facing dog. And when you come to downward facing dog, feel free to walk it out, then you one knee, straightening the other leg. Just helping to stretch out the calf muscles. And then when you're ready, travel the feet forward, step by step. Folding over to your Uttanasana. Let your head go. Let your arms go. Fly your seat skyward. Maybe emphasize a longer, slower out breath. Now that we've been opening up the back of the body, bend your knees and bring your tailbone like halfway down. Reach your arms out in front. And then inhale, straighten up the body, arms down. All right, we're coming back into the squat. Inhaling up. Exhale, forward with the arms. And inhale, descend the arms. Do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Hopefully you can feel how it's very strengthening to the lower body. Separate your feet. If you need blocks to set up underneath your hands for this, that's okay. The toes are going to turn away. And we're gonna hinge from the hips to bring the hands to the ground or to blocks. And then we're gonna go back and forth between straight legs and a squat. So when you're ready, come towards a squat on your out breath. Inhale, straighten your legs on your in breath. Breathe in and up. Breathe out and down. Good, do a couple more. Again, this is prepping us for the spider pose. All right, the next time you straighten out your legs, turn your feet to be parallel. Rest your elbows on your knees, come to bear pose. Your hands can draw together to Anjali Mudra. Inhale slowly, come back up. All right, we're gonna separate the feet. And I'm gonna separate my feet wider than the width of the mat. So Denny already turned his body. If you wanna turn your body so that your feet are on the sticky mat, totally fine. We're gonna go to Kali Goddess pose. So Kali Goddess pose is the toes turned out like squat, except a little wider. And then instead of letting the knees roll in, you're rolling open from your hips so that the knees fan nice and wide. Okay, now bring your fingertips down to the floor. Elevate your toes, or elevate your heels, excuse me. That would be really hard, wouldn't it? Actually, Denny was doing it great. He actually,
I tried both
he
ways.
followed my instructions. All right, we're close to spider, but we're not going into it yet. Turn your heels back behind your toes and land your feet to the floor, fully. Good. Now, if you need hands under or stacked on blocks, that's totally fine. We're gonna inhale, take the right arm out and up into a spinal twist. You want to keep the spine nice and long as you rotate around into the twist so that we're lubricating the disc that's in between the bones. Opening up space for the nerve roots. Exhale, lower that hand down. Inhale, sail the other arm up. Exhale, release. All right, turn your heels back in. We're just gonna go for spider, okay? So we're gonna elevate the heels. We're on the balls of the feet. Good. The hands are gonna crisscross. Fingers face each other. You can be on flat palms or fingertips. Roll open through your thighs. You're in spider pose. It's not so bad, right? It's really pretty. I should get your picture in it. Sharon. Love it. All right, when you're ready to come out, turn your heels down and slowly have your knees bent and slowly come up. Not so bad, right? All right, you ready to restore now? We're gonna start off using a bolster. And I'll demonstrate what we're gonna do, and then you can follow along. The bolster is gonna go long ways down the mat, next to your right hip, and the knees and feet will be off to one side. We're gonna lift up through the crown of the head and start to twist and rotate around to face the bolster. Tracking the hands beside it so that we can slowly lower down to the face. You want the navel face down, the chest face down, and turning to one cheek or the other. If the bolster is touching your right hip, the right cheek will be more gentle than the left cheek. Now, if you wanted to use that washcloth or towel to drape under the face, you can. You can also use it to drape over the eyes.
Broaden your upper back by fanning out the arms so they're not hugging the bolster. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. If you have been resting on your left cheek, lift your head and slowly turn over to the right cheek. Settle back down and in by taking a few deep breaths. And slide your hands in closer. Push down your palms to rise.
Then you can just turn your body around. Instead of just walking onto the bolster, set up the legs, lift up through the crown of your head, and then turn. Walk your hands alongside the prop. Belly, chest face down. This time the right cheek will take the twist deeper. If that's too much for your neck or your low back, go ahead and flip to your left. It's not worth creating any aggravation or pain. Let your arms fan out and release. Invest in your breath for a few rounds before letting it become more organic. Keep them resting on the right side. Please turn to the other cheek.
On your next in-breath, slide your hands closer, press down through your palms and slowly come up.
Turn to face the front, separate your feet, fold your shins. Inhale, bring it through to a Vipalasana, seated cow. And exhale to a seated cat. We'll do that a few more rounds. And then I'm going to give you a choice for our next restorative pose. So if you would like the legs out and roll into a heart opening position here, you can, with your head level to the chest. And the other option would be more of a bridge, where you're sitting on top of the bolster, your legs are hanging to one side, your arms, your head, and your neck to the other. So either one of these is going to open the chest and the belly. Sometimes I see people getting into the pose that I'm demonstrating with only their neck hanging off, but it is a little bit more comfortable for the shoulders to come down. If you want to use your towel to cover the eyes, this is a good time to use it. And then as you're resting in these restorative positions, we're being mindful. We're watching the thoughts as they bubble up to the surface of our minds. But we're trying to let them go one by one. So instead of attaching and creating a storyline which develops feelings, try to just view it for what it is, just a passing thought. And that way you're clearing cobwebs from your mind. You might notice some of these thoughts are regurgitating the past. Some of these thoughts may have some sort of fantasy playing out. But being mindful and being present in the now moment. Letting the past go because it's already come and gone. And letting go of the future so that you can be here now. Body and breath.
Take a moment to draw the soles of the feet together. And fanning the knees open and apart. Let's lie here in this position for 7 more breaths. Slowly draw the knees back together. We'll bend the knees and roll the way to one side. We press our way up to take a seat.
All right, we're gonna move the bolster to the side because we're gonna head to the wall. You guys on the back row can just move straight back. You guys at home, if you don't have a wall to use, you can do legs up on the chair. Okay. But before we get into the position, we're gonna stand up. I meant to do this earlier before we got too relaxed, but that's all right. We'll go back into restorative in just a moment. So you're gonna stand on the wood floor. And you're taking the towel up underneath one foot. And your heel is off the ground, so it's more or less the ball of the foot. And we're just sending the leg forward and sliding back. And you can just move your arms like you're creating some sort of dramatic walk. I haven't been watching the Olympics. This reminds me of figure skating. Three, 2, and 1. We'll go swap sides now. Same thing, the heels off the floor. Taking it forward, arms outstretched. The second part of the breath takes it back behind you. It's nice work for the hip. Also getting that work in the shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. All right, you may not want to put that back on your eyes. Let me show you what we're going to do first, and then I'll give you a choice for the second position. So to get close to the wall, you come to the edge of your mat, sit bones touching it, and then when we come into this position, we're actually going to slide the feet down like we did in the squat. But this is what I often see. I often see the knees cinching in, and you want to let them flop. Okay. And then after we do this, that's too far away. Thank you. And then after we do that position, we're going to straighten the legs. And I love this one. It's just a simple, basic legs up the wall. But if you want to change it up today and make it more of an inversion, you can bend the knees, tuck and lift to slide the bolster below. So it's more like waterfall, okay? But we're gonna be flat on the back first.
first. I wanted to give you that demonstration. You don't have to crank your neck to look my way. But once you get into Vaparita Karani, legs up the wall pose. And again, if you're at home, you can just drape your legs over a piece of furniture if a wall's not available. Slide your feet apart and then down. And then if you're using a piece of furniture at home, your feet would just be on the edge of the chair or the sofa. Your arms can really be anywhere. Some people like the arms hanging out overhead. Some people prefer A-frame, closer to the body. Some of you might enjoy hands resting on the belly if you have the space available. Sounds like the construction crew is back next door, so if you hear those noises, just try to continue to move down deep into your heart and mind. It's a good practice to meditate with sound. Let's take just 7 more breaths in this pose. It's because there is sensation in the hips. Conclusion of those 7 breaths. If you want to draw the knees back together and slide the legs back up the wall, you can keep it simple and basic, flat on your back. Or if you want to tuck and lift and put the bolster underneath your pelvis and sacrum, you can move into waterfall. I just want you to realize this pose is very medicinal for insomnia. I know I had a really restless night and a lack of sleep myself. Jen said in the previous class, it was 2 nights ago for her. You may be sleeping well, but during the times where we're not sleeping well, this can be a great pose to use to calm the mind, to calm the nervous system, and to help you to drop into some deep rest. So let's try to promote rest and relaxation here. Affirming as you hold new peace, new consciousness is flooding down and through my being. New peace. And a new state of consciousness is flooding down and through my being. Let's slide the feet down the wall. And then we're not going to roll out yet. We're going to take the right leg and slide it over to the right, and then we're going to fan open from the left bit. So it's like half Konasana, like the pose we did seated at the very beginning. Hold for 7 breaths. Seven. You're going to swap to the other side so that right heel can draw in, the left leg can slide out to the side. Hold for 7 more. Or 7. Feet can slide back together, knees together, and then roll over to one side. Slowly pick yourself up. Feel free to use back supports. Leaning against the wall. Palms open, resting on your lap. The eyelids turn down. So if you feel a lot of inner stirrings this evening, maybe take legs up the wall before you go to bed. If you find that you have a restless night because of the full moon, take about 15 minutes of your day tomorrow at some point so that you can rest and rejuvenate. Let's draw the hands together to prayer. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace by anything out of our control, anything imposed upon us by another, or any internal stressors of our own. Be more established with peace in our bodies, hearts, and minds.